Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel, Divinity Unveiled. Thank you to my subscribers. If you're coming across this video and you are not a subscriber, I would greatly appreciate it if you did. I do have some content that I think is very meaningful, very eye-opening, and very informative. But right now I'm a little nervous because this channel is the real me. It's about a lot of things that I have experienced in my life, a lot of what's going on currently in my life and what's to come. And I decided that I wanted to share a bit of my motherhood journey on this channel. So I'm gonna take it back. The past couple of videos that I posted was about promiscuity. And if you do not know, I am a mother of 7 children. And out of my 7 children, only 2 of my children have the same father. So that means out of 7 children, there are 6 fathers. You can already imagine what type of judgment comes with that, what type of names I done got called, how much I've been disrespected. You can just imagine what comes with being a woman, a black woman with 7 children by 6 different men. So that's why I'm making it a point to really talk about that in depth, just so people can understand me and other people who are like me can feel like they have a voice if they are not at that place where they can actually share. So out of all of my children, I only have 1 daughter, and it is very important for me to get to a place of healing and growth to where I can guide my daughter. I didn't have that when I was growing up. I did not have anybody who was teaching me about my self-worth and how to behave when it comes to the opposite sex and protecting me and telling me how much my body was worth and the value of being a pure woman. And I had none of that. So it's very much a goal of mine to teach my daughter those things as well as my sons, but as a woman it's very, very important for my daughter. My first introduction to sex was maybe 4 or 5 years old, being in the bed with my parents. They thought I was sleeping and they ended up doing the do. At the time I didn't know what I was really seeing or whatever, but I knew it was something and I was really uncomfortable. And I remember just laying, staring off into the dark, and I remember my mama saying I was asleep, or no, my daddy was, I don't know, I just remember them having a little back and forth about whether I was asleep or not, but I was wide awake. So that was my first unofficial introduction to sex. Now, some people may not agree with me on this, and this is just my own speculation from what I've learned over the years when it comes to spirituality, spirits, the covenant of God. My mama and my daddy were never married. They were together for 11 years and they had 3 children, but they were never married. So their union was never blessed by God. They were never under the covenant of God. So I do believe that spirit-wise, me being in the bed with them while that was happening, that was just lust. It wasn't like a husband and wife doing what they do as husband and wife. It was just lust because they were not covered under the they didn't have the covering of God in that union. So I believe that opened me up to the spirit of lust, being in the bed with that energy that close. And I'm a very spiritual person. I believe I've been that way since a child, and I do believe that spirits transfer. So like I said, that was my introduction to sex, my unofficial introduction to sex. The act itself, I was introduced to that as a very young child, maybe a couple of years later, by a family member. So my introduction to sex was not through my husband being covered under the covenant of God and being intimate with my husband. I've never been married, by the way, but I'm just saying the way that sex is supposed to be introduced, that is not the way that it happened for me. So from then on, that was something that innocence was gone. That innocence was gone. And so long story short, I'm saying all that to say it's very important to save yourself. It's very important to have those talks with your children about sex. And it's very important to address any traumatic experiences that you have had when it comes to sex, especially if you are a parent. So that phase of my life led me to not really knowing what my worth was when it comes to sex. I never knew like how valuable that part of me was, and it was just something that didn't mean a lot to me. And then sex was just something to do. It was something to do for pleasure. But as I had gotten older and wiser and smarter and started to really study and get into spirituality, and I really learned that that is setting us up for failure. The whole casual sex hookup culture, being prematurely introduced to sex through porn, you know, the music that we listen to as a child, that is really setting us up for a very unhealthy sex life. And I can say, I believe that it has played a part in the fact that I have 7 children by 6 different men. But I said all that to say, I think I'm doing a very great job with my children. I'm not perfect. Parenthood has not been easy for me. Motherhood has not been an easy journey for me. But I think I'm doing good. And the more that I heal, the better it's going to be for my children. So I am really dedicated to healing, dedicated to growing. And after this video, I decided that I want to interview my children and get their honest answers when it comes to my job as a parent, how they feel about me as their mother, and some other things. And I really did ponder about this before I decided I was going to go ahead and do it, but I did ask them if they are okay with it. So that's going to be my next couple of videos, interviewing my children about my parenthood, my mothering style, and life growing up with me as their mother. I ain't gonna lie, I'm nervous to hear what they're gonna have to say. I really want them to be honest. I don't want them to be scared, and I don't want them to say what they think I want them to say. I want them to really be honest, so I'm gonna stress that point to them. But I am nervous because I am not perfect. I'm telling you, I'm not perfect. I know that, but I do think I've done a great job. I know that I've done better than I feel my mother did with me and my siblings. So, and I want my daughter, and this ain't no dissing, no shade to my mama, because my mama went through things with her mama went through things with her mama. It's a generational cycle that has to be broken. And I'm not perfect. My daughter's not going to be perfect. But I do believe that my daughter is going to be better than I am. And I do believe that her daughter is going to be better than she was. And that's what it is. It's just breaking generational curses, breaking generational cycles that are not conducive to healthy relationships, a healthy lifestyle. So if that's something that y'all think y'all want to see, y'all want to hear what my kids have to say about me, I will be starting with my oldest, my Jaden Nasir. I will be starting with him, and I'm going to just go on down the line. So if that's something that you want to see, stay tuned, and I will be back with those videos. Love y'all. Talk to y'all later. Bye.